Welcome to this, your daily briefing, in which we will discuss some days that I've counted, a plausible managerial target that I've found off my own back, and a plausible transfer rumour. So, just to like mix it up, opposed to every day point out how ridiculous other people's rubbish is. You can have a smirk at my suggestions. This, I have to warn you, this is the counting days bit, and this may put some of you in a foul mood. It didn't dawn on me until I kind of read it back a couple of times. 69 days have elapsed since we sacked Jose Mourinho. I'm not really interested in whether this is the longest period that Spurs have been without a manager, but it looks bloody awful. I think we can agree on that. But then this is where it gets worse. There's 50 days, count them, only 50 days until the season starts. And then there's an extra 15 days, so 65 days until the transfer window closes. And my fear, based upon 20 years of Daniel Levy at the helm, at the wheel, that he says to himself, well, I've got 65 days. And that's the only number he has in his head. And one of the proverbial problems with Tottenham is that they're never ready for the beginning of the season. The pre-seasons tended in the past to degenerate into sort of shebangs to the Philippines, Southeast Asia, wherever, to try and flog shirts or drum up business, oil the wheels with AIA. But they've never got a sense of the team kind of getting to know each other and working out what the system was going to be, and just getting some harmony within the group. So 65 days. So we're potentially in for another couple of months. And the only pre-season matches that have actually been thrashed out at this stage are in that Mind series, which is Mind, the mental health charity. Chelsea versus Spurs, which is on August the 4th at Stamford Bridge, and Spurs versus Arsenal, which is at the Tottenham HOTSPUR Stadium. I had a look at what other clubs are doing, and very few have got a conventional sort of programme already mapped out. Some teams have got 3, 4, 5 games, and other teams like Liverpool, for example, haven't declared that they're playing anybody yet. But what really, this is the thing that bugs me, is that never, compared with all the other transfer windows, we've got so many players to get rid of, and there's just no word of it from any journalists. And what really concerns me, there's no links in the foreign press. And I think we've seen with the managerial developments and that whole merry-go-round that the British press are utterly unreliable. And this is because all they're capable of doing is recycling the disinformation that's put out by the press office. And it's really concerning that we've not had Italian sources coming out and saying that, Roma or Juventus or whatever are interested, or any Serie A team are interested in Winks or Dyer or whatever. And I'm just really worried, because this squad, as it sits, is not going to do anything next season. It's going to be another long period of them listening to the same voices in the dressing room. And whoever the manager isn't going to be a huge influence. Sorry to be doom and gloom, but these are the facts. I mean, it's 69 days since they sacked Mourinho, and all we've had out of them is, well, don't keep up making up names and linking us with people, because some of those people that we've allegedly said, who have allegedly told us they're not coming, we've not even spoken to. I mean, the inability, the vacuum. On an upbeat note, well, kind of, Takahiro Tomiyasu, I hope I've done him no disservice there. Japanese versatile 22-year-old, and boy, is he versatile. I've got on here, it says he plays, one of the newspapers says he can play right back or central defence. I had a look at his performances earlier today, and he is a really interesting player. My initial thoughts were, oh, here we go, the price is right. They're talking about, 15 million or something. But moreover, for ENIC, the marketing position was right, because they've had such success with having Sonny at the club that if you were able to replicate that, it would be sensational. And we were after a South Korean defender. I think, was it in the last window or the window before? And that all kind of fell through. And I think the Chinese were leaking, the Koreans were leaking endlessly about every development. But actually looking at this player, he looks really solid. He's not a conventional wing back, which actually appeals to me because I like my defenders to primarily be able to defend. But just it's difficult to explain to you, and I am working on some tech to get some visuals pop up. But if you look at you can see where he plays by looking at not just his heat map, but by looking at his passes. And he's very drilled, he's very focused, and he's not a player, and this is where we start rolling our eyes, like Sanchez and Dyer, who's out of position. And I think he looks interesting. That's all I can say, and I can see that really working. And another rumour is that Ajax are looking to take Steven Bergwijn to escape his troubled time at Tottenham. And the London club apparently looking for 27 million, which is allegedly what we paid for him. Bergwijn, I think, is a tragedy because I saw videos of him from PSV Eindhoven, that he, with his coaches and all the rest of it. Clearly, great family guy, really decent upbringing. The whole story, just a pretty wonderful kid. And something has gone wrong, and I don't know what it is. I feel that he's been advised badly at Tottenham for some reason. When he wasn't playing, which I understand he'd got to find his feet, but he bulked up. He was like some mighty mouse, and he didn't appear to me to be as agile as he had been when he first came to us. But, I mean, is this really going to be the answer, that we sell him to Ajax from a fee that was inflated because he'd come to the Premier League? Hasn't achieved anything with Tottenham. I mean, you could arguably sort of unkindly say that his career had stalled. But I think the price is inflated, and if PSV, if they're interested, then good luck to them. But I would be surprised that they go and get a Dutch product that had kind of, on the bounce back. On the manager thing, I was trying to solve the problem, and it's because quite frequently you get people when you do blogs and this sort of thing. What's your solution? And well, I'm not on 15 million quid a year, so thanks very much. But I'll offer you this for nothing, because what triggered it was this comment from Mika Richards, and he wondered why Roberto Mancini had been overlooked by Tottenham. And arguably the Italian's in his prime, and it baffled Richards that neither Spurs or Everton had gone for him. I think Mancini didn't end up fully enjoying his time working with Englishmen. I don't imply there's a race thing there, but I just don't think that he's in a hurry to come back to us. And the real sucker punch here is that he's a grown-up, and he's not some child who'd work under Levy's bizarre conditions, which effectively mean that you're manager in name, coach in name, but don't involve yourself with anything beyond that. So my suggestion is Diego Martinez. And a lot of you, and I don't mean to patronise, may have to look him up. But he's a free agent, having resisted Granada's attempt to continue his highly successful 3 years. And he came up from Division 2, consecutive top half La Liga finishes, Copa del Rey semi-final and a Europa League quarter-final. And his win rate in his last season was 47%. Now, I'm not selling him to you in the conventional sense, but I think from the point of view of where Tottenham are and what Tottenham would demand from a manager, this guy might be agreeable, if that makes sense. So none of this flim-flam fantasy about we're building and this and all that cobblers, we've had that before. I'm talking about getting a manager in who works the ENIC way, doesn't sort of step out of line and say, yeah, but have you seen? No. We'll give you these guys off a spreadsheet. So he's, Diego Martinez, he's young, he's 40, and I think Tottenham are trying desperately not to get an English manager, just so it looks better. But that's their mindset, not mine. I mean, on a slightly humorous note, I mean, he's fought his way out the third tier of Spanish football. So if we did get relegated under him, he'd be, up for the scrap of the Championship. I wish there was more positivity coming out of Tottenham. And I had a comment on the blog or YouTube or whatever it was yesterday. Somebody said, I can only tell you what's happening and give you my take on it, which hopefully is rational and reasoned. Right now, I think there are distinctly choppy waters lying ahead for Tottenham. And I cannot be a cheerleader for selling empty boxes. And trying to kid you that it's all going to be amazing again. Need to get the fans back. Need to get a coach in, and need to get the money starting to be printed all through the day and all through the night, as Daniel likes to do, and then we can think about what the future might hold. But right now, the short-term plan is got to be about healing and steering away from disaster. If this squad isn't freshened up significantly, right, we're going to be in a lot of trouble within months of the season starting. But let's hope that doesn't come to pass. All right? If you like it, hit like. If you're interested in seeing more of it, hit subscribe. And if you think it's terrible, go away and don't tell anybody. Good luck. Keep it Tottenham.